Hi, I'm so glad that you reached out saying that you didn't understand. So, the two assignments that you have this week, the first one is this learning type management type schedule and log. So, we talked about this in class, but I know that you weren't there for that. So, um, the readings that we did for week one, I didn't have you do anything as you were reading or in class, but this assignment and the next assignment really are for that. So, what you're going to do is first you need to identify your learning type. So, if you click here, it takes you to that reading that has to do with the learning type. So, that starts here with the learning styles. So think about what the different learning style it is that you kind of identify with. I do want to point out where it says this, your learning style does not define you as a student. For example, I'm more of a visual learner, but that doesn't mean that I can only learn by looking at something. I can learn by listening, by other things. It'll just take me a little bit longer to process it. I can also do things to help me. So that's kind of what this is, the strategies. That's strategies to help you with whatever style you're talking about. So you would choose your style or styles, learning style or styles that you kind of lean towards most. And then you would put that, well, first you have to go to the template and then you're going to make a copy. So the way you do that is File, make a copy. So then when you'll have your name here, teacher, class, and then the due date. So learning type, let's say that I'm visual. Okay, so if I'm a visual learner, then I am looking, excuse me, sorry, I lost my tab here. You're looking at the strategies that they suggest. So which of these strategies would you actually do? So for me, I would possibly represent visual concepts visually, charts, diagrams, or sketches. For me, I wouldn't do sketches because even though I like to draw, I'm not a very good artist. So I would look at those sketches later and be like, I don't know what that means. But charts and diagrams make sense to me. Taking notes, taking physical notes, using different colored highlighters to keep my interest and to kind of make sure that things go together. So which of these strategies would you use and why? Why are those the ones that you would use? Why is it that those ones would appeal to you? So that's the first section. That's number one. Number two is a time management style. So the exercise was originally found here, but I copied it here. And it's the same thing. Please be honest. There are no right or wrong answers at all. So for each question, where is it that you kind of line up? So your instructor gave you your this. Okay, I'm kind of here. Okay, for this one, I'm kind of here, or whatever it may be. Okay, so from that, then you answer these questions. Which of the four basic time management styles did you have? And that's what's in the parentheses. So say that you had a lot of the balancing act. Okay, so you had a lot of the balancing act, but you didn't do very much of the early bird. Yes, that is whatever. Okay. So it's just a way for you to reflect on what you've done in the past and what you want to continue to do and what you might want to change. So that's number two. Number three is going to this website and you're going to kind of modify the ¿cómo se llama? The instructions a little bit. Wow, I don't know why I had a hard time with that. So it says to just put your class schedule, but that doesn't really help. So let's say that I had English C1, so I'll just do mine. I have English C1000E on Tuesdays from, say, let's just err on the side of caution and say 11 to 1. Then I have English C1000E on Thursdays from 8, it's a very early class, to 10. Then I have LS300 on Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 to 3:30. So if I were to just do this, it makes it look like I have so much time to study. I'm like, psh, I've got all this space. But that's not really representative of a week. So for this, I want you to put in anything that happens on a regular weekly basis. So in addition to this, I go line dancing. And I go Tuesdays from 2 to 4. I'll make that a different color just so I kind of know. I wonder if I could just pause this for a second. Pause. Okay, so now I've put in everything that happens on a weekly basis. Yes, things might change, but it allows me to see, okay, this is a little bit more representative of what my days look like. So then from there, I'm like, okay, when will I realistically study? When is it that I'm actually going to get stuff done? I don't like waking up early. So I'm going to say that I'm going to wake up at like 9:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'll start studying or working at like 10:30 to 1. 10:30 to 1. So I'm going to have study on Mondays and Wednesdays from, oh, that's 11:30. 10:30 to 1. Okay, so this is my blocked out study time. Then on Tuesdays, in all reality, I'm not going to get much done because I don't want to wake up super early. I don't have a whole heck of a lot of time in between here or between here. I could potentially do some work after, but I know myself. I know that I'm not going to actually do it. So I'm not going to put that on there. On Thursdays, though, when I'm done with class and go home, so let's say I get home at 10:30. So I'm going to have a little something to eat, and then I'll start studying from 11 to 2:30. Study on Thursdays from 11 to 2:30. And then on Fridays, I'm pretty darn open. I'm not going to study before line dancing, but afterwards, I like to go home, eat, shower. So I'll start studying at 1 and say I'll go to 4. That's not how you spell study. Friday from 1 to 4. All right. So now I have a more realistic look of when I would actually study or when I would get work done. So I want you to make one for yourself. I want you to then share that with me. So the best way to do that is take a screenshot of it, which will copy it, and then just paste it here. I just want to see that you made a schedule. I'm not judging you. I'm not doing anything. It's just like, did you do the thing? Did you put in there any obligations you have and when you would study? So then the log is, again, please just be honest, is what is it that you did on each day? So should be every day that we didn't have class. I don't remember whether it's the Tuesday or Thursday class off the top of my head, but if it's the Tuesday class, which is I don't remember. Say it's a Thursday class. So you would do this on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it's due on Wednesday. And so let's say that on Thursday, which was the 4th, you had class for 2 hours. You studied for 30 minutes, and then you had work for 6 hours. The next day, you were sick and you didn't feel like doing anything, so you're just like, I bed rotted. I did nothing. So be honest, please. What is it that you did? So that way you have a general sense of what it looks like for you in a week. And then you can think about, okay, well, does this work? Does this not? So that's the first assignment. Okay, so you're doing all these things. The second assignment is SQ3R. So there were there were different readings that you did on the week before. And this one has to do with critical reading, of reading for memory, of really absorbing what it is that you're reading. One way to do that is this method, SQ3R. S stands for survey, Q stands for questioning, reading and recording, and recalling. Okay, so 3 R's: read, record, recall. So you survey. What do you notice? Do you see any headings? Do you see any charts? Do you see any sections that are a little bit different? Because this is an assignment, I want you to actually write out these different things. Normally, when you survey, you would just look it over. Normally, when you're questioning, you don't necessarily have to write it down. You should read and record. You can annotate. You can take notes. I did put an example in the announcements. Okay. So you can annotate or you can take notes. The first example is the annotation. So you can see that I did some surveying. Okay, I see that there's an overview here. There's another heading. I did some questioning. What's mine? Is this unbiased? That was a question that I asked on the front end. Oh, look, here's a chart, has definitions and benefits. There's lists. So I am noting when I'm surveying, oh, these are different things that I notice. That's it. Then questioning is you can question the reading itself. So like, why was this assigned? Or what does that mean? Or whatever. This is before you start reading. So what questions do you have of the text or the assignment before you start reading? Then is read and recall. Read and record. So you go through and you annotate. Now, sometimes people struggle with knowing what it is to annotate. So generally speaking, I would say that you annotate any key terms. Are there any words that you don't know what they mean? Look them up and then put the definition on the side. I would also say summarizing different sections. So if there's like a big section here, kind of on the side, just summarize what it's about. And that's, I think, a really good place to start with annotation is just definitions and summarizing of what it is, of what it's about. As much as possible, try to put it in your own words, because when you put it in your own words, it helps you remember things. You can also ask questions. You can be, especially if it's for a class, and there's a reading that you're not really understanding, you could be like, I don't know what this means. Ask a question about this in class. So it reminds you, okay, I need to go back and dig into this a little bit more. So read, record. Then you need to recall. there's a couple different ways that you could recall. I think the easiest is summarizing. So at the end, without looking at all of your annotations or whatever, write a summary. Okay, this is what it is that I remember. This, blah, 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 blah. Then you can go back and be like, okay, did I get all the things? Did I remember what I wrote and what I read? And then that will allow you to know, okay, well, I need to go back and look over this a little bit more. Or, hey, I'm good to go. So you can annotate it. Totally fine. That's one option. The other option, you do not need to do both, is take notes. If you take notes, I would recommend that you number the different aspects. So, survey, what are some things you noticed? I noticed headings, a chart, lists. Questioning, what are some questions that I can ask of the text and of the purpose? Is it unbiased? What's my multiple intelligence? What is the purpose? Why is this assigned? And when I take notes, it's shorthand. So, what is purpose? Why assigned? Those are not complete sentences, but it's notes. So it's fine. Then I'm reading and recording. I'm taking notes on the different things that it's about. And just keep going. Then the last one is recall. And it's the same. You just write a summary. What are the things that you remember? Did you miss anything? And that's it. If you have any questions on anything, please, 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 please let me know.